Okay, welcome back, everyone. So today we are going to dive deeper into the new way of game development using AI. Okay, so here's the thing. You gotta start doing things that you previously did not do because a lot of grunt work was involved in doing that, and usually we have time constraints, and sometimes each new thing requires a lot of, how do I say this, preliminary setup. But that's not a problem anymore. So let me show you a few tools that I made for the game that I'm currently working on for my own studio called On Trigger Joy Studio, and the game is called Symphorix. And here are some tools that I created just because I could without wasting a lot of time. So one of the tools that I created was a custom scene navigator because here's the thing, sometimes when you have multiple scenes in your game, you have to like for testing, you have to come from the loader scene or something. So it, you can set a scene as default. So whichever scene is default scene, it will, always, when you press play, it will always start from that scene. So let me quickly add just another scene just in case and for testing. So let me add the testing scene into the build settings. And once I've done that, it would automatically show up here. So right click, I can have favorite scenes. I can set as default play scene. So once I press play, it will start from that scene. And once I exit play mode, it's all gonna come back to the scene I was previously working in. A small productivity thing, which I probably would not have done if not for AI, because I knew how to do it, but I did not have time to do extra tools. So here's the thing, some other tools. So I usually use event managers in my game. Let me show you my event manager. So here's the event manager. And I used to use Unity events, but then I said, why not create an observable event class that kind of acts like a wrapper around the Unity event and allows me to trace what's happening in the game. And I ended up with an amazing tool that now I use. And the AI allowed me to make it in like 5% of the time it would have took me to make it myself. Let me show you. This event debugger. Okay, so here's the thing. So when I press play, everything that happens creates a timeline. This event happened, then this happened, then this happened. When this event happened, these two guys listened to it. This guy listened to it first, this guy. So sometimes in event based approach, there are certain sometimes race conditions or conditions emerge when you're assuming that when an event happens, everything's going to happen all at once, but actually it's a queue. So some things happen first. So if this needed some data from this class, when listening to this event, things will bug out. But this window allowed me to see which one's listening first, which one's listening second. Then I rapid fire events, which are happening again and again. Listeners, I can check which event has which listeners. Again, really neat tool that just took me 5% of the time, which I otherwise. So here's the thing. Often it's a decision where you have to make a choice. Like making the tool will require 5 hours, and then it will save me, let's say, 15 hours over the next month, right? So when working in a studio environment or working a job, or I used to previously tell everyone to make tools, make tools, make tools, but people would not do that because it took way more time than they could justify. So it was a feasibility kind of thing. And some other approaches and tools, I'm going to go deeper into how you can think about these things. uh, generate upgrades. So my game has it's an indie sorry roguelite. So upgrades. So it automatically generates all the upgrades uh, and puts them in a JSON file. And whenever I introduce a new stat, so since gender upgrades are stats, so this is an upgrade that gives us a healing rate boost and a damage per beat boost. Uh, but imagine I introduce a new stat, so that would need to be integrated into the upgrades. So I have another tool, which is stat definitions editor. And here are all the stats. I just create a new stat, save it to JSON, and then click generate code. So it's going to generate a file which is going to be a C# file. So I'm generating code while in editor create these stat definitions, which my runtime code is going to use. And what so I won't have to do string analysis. I got type safety, so I'll say get stat thrust power. So here's the thing. This is something I would never have done due to time constraints before. Now, another tool I am using in my project is the data manager for songs. So I have had to do a lot of grunt work, and now I don't have to. So I have editor tools for almost everything that makes sense. And previously, I would not have done that. And that is something that I want to convey through this video, that you gotta start thinking of like a project manager or like a code architect, because the grunt work isn't grunt work anymore. And if something can give you productivity boost and previously was not feasible, now it is. And this is something that is a big paradigm shift if you think about it. Because most people would not make these tools. Most people will not make unit tests because previously they took a lot of grunt work. But now grunt work is not yours anymore. You just need to figure out what kind of productivity boost I need in my project and just make it happen. Just make a tool for it. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this. In fact, let's make a quick tool. Let's say you keep forgetting what your next task was, right? So let's create a new tool. I'm going to cover a few things. Making tools is what I'm covering right now. Then I'm going to teach you diagnostics and visualizations. These are the three things, tools, diagnostics, and visualizations that most of us did not do because of time constraints or grunt work or some additional learning that was required. Okay, so let's quickly open up the composer in agent mode. Let's say I want to make an editor window so that I can keep a list of tasks that I want to do. So kind of a to-do list. The window should have a way to add tasks, remove tasks, and should use interesting colors, should not be compiled with the build. So use compile preprocessors and let's see what we get. So don't always assume you're going to get the very perfect thing in the first try. Always assume it's going to be a multi-step process so that you and the AI can work collaboratively in order to get the best thing. Okay. So it's making a new directory called assets editor because of course editor scripts need to go in editor folder. Then it's creating a window script. Okay. Then it's gonna, Okay, let's first see it because I do understand there are going to be a couple of improvements that this tool is going to need. Task list. Okay, so this is what it made, and let's try it. I need to talk about visualization at task. Okay, here's the thing. I got an error when I opened that window, but the task did show up. Okay, let's test if I can add multiple tasks. Okay, good. Can I remove tasks? Good. However, when it so now I'm testing it, and I had got two errors. Press Control, select both of them, copy, go, and paste them here so that it knows what happened when the tool it made was ran. So it's going to figure out the problems and fix them. Okay, accept. Let's go and close tab, window. Let me see. Okay, no errors. The task that we had added is still there. You can add more tasks. Okay, so just a basic tool. Of course, you can have a lot of functionality in it, whatever your use case is. So previously, um, you either had to go to the asset store to get small tools, and but now small tools is just prompt away. So start making tools that help you in your specific use case. Previously, we had to think a little bit broader because we needed tools that would either sell on the asset store or get buy from the asset store. But now we can have very specific and very use case specific tools. Okay, so this is the cube that we had previously made in the last video. So it moves, right? So imagine I want to visualize certain things like what's happening inside of it. Like imagine it's a complex AI based enemy, right? So there are a few things we can do. So first of all, random movement, let's make a new composer. And we can always add files to the context and stuff, but I want to address this right now. So let's say I want to visualize, okay, what's happening in this script. First, suggest how should I do it? What are the approaches? Don't make any changes yet. Okay, so I know there are a few ways to do it. I could do ongoing, I could do debug stuff, I could do rendering, I could do gizmos, right? So I, here's the thing, have a discussion with it before you actually commit to something. Now, it did not do on GUI stuff. So another thing I've noticed is remember the really, really old GUI system, like on GUI stuff? That has become so useful now, again, all of a sudden. Something like no one was expecting, perhaps. So I'm gonna ask it to why not make an on GUI window just show the details of the random movement script and what it's doing, its next target, etc. Also debug, uh, also add gizmos to on selected to show me its next target, etc. Also make some floating text boxes that follow the object with information. Okay, here's the thing. Now, this is something, again, grunt work. And for grunt work, AI is best. Now, plus this also helps in debugging, understanding, as I previously showed you, the event system, something that previously we would be thinking again and again about whether we should do it or not. But now grunt work is no excuse anymore. And the tools and the small use case things that we uh, wouldn't probably think about are now something that we should be doing actually, because this is the productivity boost that we were missing and would not use. Okay, so let's see what happened. Turn on gizmos. So it did add something, however, I do not see. Oh, sorry, I got this window. Wants me to install some TMP essentials. Okay, so let me bring in the game view. It's on the other window. My other screen is hogging the game view. Nope, not letting it free. Anyways, okay. But however, I do notice it did not do that. I'm probably gonna have to restart Unity. The game is okay, so let's play it. Okay, so that window is appearing and current action. So these small tiny windows, you can make them appear and your game can actually tell you a lot about what's happening inside of it, and that actually allows and helps with bug fixing, as well as you can make create interesting tools for your other developers. See, it made a floating debug text on top of it, and it took nothing to do. Check it out. Okay, so now that conveys the visualization thing. I hope it does. Like, so use all the other grunt work stuff that you did not previously do because of time constraints, and now you can. And also, here's the thing, by the way, just quick interesting stuff for you guys. If you notice, this is a debug text using Text Mesh Pro text. Did you guys notice? This is actually a floating mesh. So in case you didn't know, you can do that without world space canvases and going into that stuff. Anyways, see, you learned something from AI as well, and because obviously it has access to a lot more knowledge than you. However, you are probably going to be more creative and have the bigger picture. Anyways, let's move on to the other thing. Now, imagine we want to do something that we don't know how to begin doing. Like, let's say a lot of people used to ask me, and a lot of people have that, like, they know that their game can benefit from Unity dots, let's say, but they don't know how to go about it. Okay, so now we have this random movement script. I want to use burst compile and Unity dots for this. And oh, by the way, haven't installed burst and Unity and all that stuff, but I'm trying to prove a point here. So it can write dots code as well. So step by step, by learning it, by the way, it read the manifest.json file and figured out that we do not have the package. Okay, good. Anyways, see, I told you it's going to amaze you, but also a lot of people are concerned that this is going to make you handicapped and you won't know uh, your things, and since you forget what you had learned previously, etc., etc. But here's the thing, AI is here to stay, and the only difference between you and the other person is going to be one of you is going to know what the AI is doing, and the other person would not know. And that is actually a big advantage because whatever it's writing, I actually know what it's doing. I can debug its codes. I can catch where it makes mistakes, and trust me, it does. It does make mistakes. It makes wrong assumptions. So again, once you do not have that, once you it updated the change log, by the way. Okay, so here's the thing. Start hitting things that you previously wouldn't. Unity dots, unit testing, uh, visualizations. Like you can have elaborate visualizations of your in-game systems. Like you can have a Boolean here, which that's actually another interesting thing. Since we did the stuff and it introduced a lot of errors, we can restore before we asked it to do this, and the project would just go back to. So it's uh, if it does something that you don't like, you can always restore it, or you can in the next prompt ask it to fix it. Okay, so as I said, uh, this is was a little introduction to a few of the things and how you can do them, and also to encourage you to start thinking about tools and stuff that previously wasn't feasible. Okay, so small windows like this, you can have a tool here that allows you to turn it on and off, so you can always debug what's happening. You can debug the whole flow of your game, the whole event system of your game. You can visualize what's happening in your game, which event got fired, and who listened, and all of those things can actually be visualized. Your whole game can be visualized, and those things, like which were like kind of annoying little bugs, they get really easy to solve. And see you. In fact, I think that's gonna be it. I think we don't need third part to this series. I think I have conveyed what I wanted. And also, guys, wish me luck for my game release. It's on Steam. I'm going to be releasing the demo of the game in the next fest, and then after that, on 4th March, we're going to release our game. The game is called Symphorix, and I'll really appreciate if you guys subscribe and like, and do share comments about this video series, and if you liked it. And wishlist my game if you like the concept I'm working on. I like to think it's pretty interesting. Thank you guys. Take care.